Hi, everybody. Good morning. Happy Thursday. Hope you guys are hanging in there. The sun is shining out on Long Island, so that's a nice thing. We're going to have an interesting conversation today. I'll keep saying it because as people join, they can, I think that was Ara. But anyway, so as people join, we're going to have a conversation with Dr. Aris, who is a really interesting sports medicine doctor. Dr. Ara is, hi, Dr. Ara.
Hi, Katie. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? You're talking to me from Florida?
I'm talking to you from Orlando for now, yes.
Yeah, okay, sorry. I'm just trying to make this so I don't look like my head's cut off. Thanks
Yeah.
for talking with us. We should explain what you do, Dr. Ara. Can I give your quick bio and you can correct me if I'm wrong?
Absolutely, yes. Go ahead.
Okay, you are a highly sought after personal physician on the PGA and LPGA Tour. If you want, you can put your phone against something and then you
Yeah,
don't
I'm
have
trying
to
to do
hold
that right
it.
now.
It's a lot easier because
Yeah, give me 1 second.
your arm's gonna get tired. People
Yeah.
said they like my sweater. This is the only sweater I ever wear. Dave Price, my friend, makes fun of me, but what can I say? Anyway,
Okay, there we go.
you're a practicing, that's good. Try to get, there you go. You're a practicing ER physician and chief wellness officer for the Florida Emergency Physician and an assistant professor in clinical medicine at the University of Central Florida Medical School. You're also the chief medical analyst on the NBC Sports Golf Channel. And you really are an expert on sports medicine, but the reason why I wanted to talk to you is I watched your little lecture, I guess is what you'd call it, or your webinar on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I thought it was super interesting. And first of all, not just about athletes, but I wondered if there's some things that you've learned about athletes that might be able to help other people who are trying to stay healthy and keep their immune system strong. But before we talk about that, it's interesting. You say that athletes are more susceptible to getting this virus than the regular population, which really surprised me.
So, yeah, when we talk about professional athletes, right, they spend all their time training, thinking about competition. Athletes as a whole, if you take into account the psychology, the stress of competing, stress of traveling, jet lag, travel fatigue, changes in nutrition to change their body composition, as well as heavy training bouts. And then you put into it, environmental factors like training in altitude, training in the cold, competing in extreme conditions. Their immune system is what we call down-regulated. They often run a lower immune system, which is why, believe it or not, the second most common reason for missing training is a viral infection. It's actually a cold. After injuries, that's the second most common reason.
Because their immune system, you would think the opposite.
Yes.
Dr. R, you would think they would be so strong and that they, would be healthier than the rest of us.
Yeah, that's often, when I first started working with athletes, I train in surgery, I train in critical care, in sports medicine, and I naively thought, I'm going to be dealing with strains and tendinitis and overuse injuries. That was a very small part of my practice. Majority of the time when the athletes got comfortable with me, they would say to me, hey, doc, why do I get sick so often? Why do I get tired so much? Because what they're doing, it's very unusual. It's an enormous amount of strain on the body. So they're pushing it as hard as they can and then trying to recover and keep doing it over and over again. So that's why it's like that. So for my advice to the general public is, listen, if you exercise done in moderation, moderate intensity, less than an hour in total, is actually very, very good for the immune system. Right now, it is excellent. It actually.
So what does that mean, Dr. R? And by the way, please feel free to everyone watching this to ask questions of Dr. Ara. So you're saying moderate exercise instead of intense exercise. And when you, for about an hour, are you saying every day? And what kind of exercise are you recommending to really crank up your immune system?
Okay, so what I would recommend is wherever you're starting at, right? So let's say you're a complete novice, then doing 30 minutes to 45 minutes of moderate exercise, meaning an activity that allows you to still engage in a conversation. You know, you might be a little bit out of breath, but you can still talk. That level of intensity is moderate intensity. If
So
you
that
go
means
beyond,
maybe even for some novices, walking at a
yeah,
fairly rapid
correct,
pace, right?
correct, yeah. So you want to judge the pace by, you know, can you hum a tune while you walk? If you can't do that, you want to crank it down a little bit because it's you're pushing the heart and the lungs a little bit too hard. Now, if you're a seasoned athlete, if you're a CrossFitter, you've been running a lot, and find your baseline. What I'm saying is, don't now is not the time to push it beyond that. You know, you want to keep it. If you want to look at your heart rate, you want to keep your heart rate, whatever your maximum heart rate, which is it's actually a very easy number to calculate. You take 220 minus your age will give you your maximum heart rate. Okay.
Okay.
Now, if you take 60% of that, and you can, if you wear a heart rate monitor, try to keep in that zone, that's moderate activity.
And you're recommending 1 hour a day
Yes.
of moderate activity to
Yes.
really bolster your immune system. And you say that you shouldn't do intense exercise because
Yes.
your immune function may actually decrease. So, you know, but if you're really, really, really in good shape, can you do intense exercise, or should you try to take it easy now?
No, if you're in really, really good shape, whatever's baseline. So what I tell my athletes is athletes work, you know, they have a maintenance phase and then they have a pretty, you know, strict high intensity phase, right? So if you're an athlete and let's say you're very fit, keep to your maintenance. Whatever you do normally, do that. Now is not a time. Let's say you run 10 miles a day, right? If that's your baseline, that's fine, but don't try to crank it up to 15 because you're bored or you're not working or you have time. You know, the other thing I would say is that 1 hour, if you can pepper it in 20 minutes at a time throughout the day, that's actually better rather than doing one long piece.
Oh, that's good to know. Okay,
Mm.
because I've been trying to walk. I've been trying to do 10,000 steps a day. I've been
Yeah.
doing, occasionally, I've been working with a trainer virtually. But that's good to know. And a runner just said that he's sort of taken it down a notch so he doesn't put too much strain on his heart. I thought that was interesting.
That's
Oh,
really good.
okay. So,
That's really good.
okay, Dr.
You're like
Aris
you're being
says that's
smart, you
good.
know. Now is not a time, given how prevalent the virus is, now is not a time. Because Katie, here's what happens. When you train really hard, if you go say 90 minutes and you are pushing yourself, you know, high intensity or more than 90 minutes, right? Duration more than 90 minutes and intensity is very high. For about 30 minutes to an hour afterwards, your immune system is downregulated, meaning the immune cells are sluggish. And we don't know exactly why that happens. One theory is you run out of energy. And just like your heart and your kidneys and your liver and your brain, the immune system, the cells of those immune system, your soldiers, need fuel. They need energy. So if your body's low in energy, guess what? The immune system is not going to be as robust.
Okay, that's good to know. I want to get to, you have so much information that's super interesting. Julia, who works with me, asked about taking naps. I'm going to get to sleeping in just a second because we're going to divide this up between exercise, diet, supplements, which I think a lot of people are really interested in, and sleeping, and maybe a teeny bit on mental health. So when it comes to diet, I thought it was interesting. I was very happy to hear that you said we should be eating carbs. Well, when you tell me that, I say, great, I'll eat a lot of chocolate chip cookies, but that's not what you mean, is it?
No. Listen, low glycemic carbs, okay? Carbs are your friends right now. So carbs are fuel, okay? When I talked about diet in the webinar, what I said was two things. One is shortly after working out, you have a window, like I said, you know, you'll be running low on energy. That is a time to replenish energy, and carbs are a great source of fuel. The type of carbs are carbs that don't spike your blood sugar. So if you look up low glycemic carbs, that's great, you know.
Tell us what those are, Dr. Ara.
So that would be something like, you know, you know, sweet potatoes are great, you know, yams are great, even wild rice, quinoa, all those things are really good. But also this is a time to have a little bit, like 1 to 2 portions of fruits. even though they're higher in glycemic index, they are full of antioxidants and nutrients and flavonoids that will support the immune system. So
In
now,
fact, when I saw your talk, Dr. R, you said 6 to 8 portions of
yes,
flavonoids.
yes,
And these are foods like green tea, raw vegetables, fruit. That's a lot, 6 to 8 portions. So you're
yes.
saying, and out of that, how much should be fruit?
Like two out of the 8 portions can be fruits.
2 out of 8.
Yeah,
But
and
then
again,
things
Katie,
like
for a second.
and garlic and things like not garlic, cooked vegetables,
Yes.
broccoli, things like that.
Yes, the more color in your vegetables, the better. Okay, and fruits, ideally, you want to time it right after your workout. That's a good window to put fruits back in there.
Oh, really? Why?
Because you've just used up your fuel. So if you think about how you fuel, most people, they will use up the sugar content, glycogen, in their muscle and their liver. So now it's low, you can fill it back up.
Okay, someone just asked about juicing, which is a good question. When you juice, you get some of the nutrients, but you don't get the fiber. So do you recommend juicing to bolster your immune system?
I think in an ideal world, I'd rather you eat the whole plant and the whole vegetables. But if juicing is the way for you to consume a lot of portions, then I'm okay with that. Yes.
Okay. You also said one of the things I forgot to mention, this is not a time to have drastic changes in your body composition to get shredded or cut back a lot on calories. This will make your immune system go haywire. Can you explain why you shouldn't do any kind of very radical dieting right now for people? That doesn't mean go crazy, everyone watching, but I think that's a really interesting point that a rapid decrease in body weight actually is really bad.
Yeah, because here's what, for you to achieve that, you got to do a combination of this, right? You either got to cut down your calories or you have to increase the demand, meaning you're training super hard. Okay. Typically, that's what people do. Like if you see most people's New Year's resolution, they'll cut down their calories and they'll increase the amount of exercise they do. And two things happen. They either get sick or they get injured, right? And the reason for that is your body will run out of energy. And like I said, now is not a time to be depleted of energy for your immune system. You can't afford that right now. So that's why I'm saying, if you work out, eat afterwards. Just make sure you match the demands with the calories.
Someone's saying I juice daily. Is that wrong? It isn't necessarily wrong.
No.
It's just you're missing the fiber that comes with fruit, and that also makes you feel a little fuller if you eat the whole fruit. So, and someone asked what you thought of intermittent fasting.
I think intermittent fasting is great. Okay. Where I want to make it very clear, like intermittent fasting has actually been shown to boost the immune system a little bit, but intermittent fasting shouldn't be mistaken for calorie restriction. Okay. So if you need 2,000 calories a day or 1,800 calories a day, if you
that's not very many, by the way.
No, I'm just saying, like on average, on average, if you need 2,000 calories a day and you intermittently fast, so you don't eat for a window of 12 to 16 hours, then in that 8 hours, make sure you get those 2,000 calories, because otherwise you will be cutting back on calories and you'll run into the problem of increasing demand and not meeting that, and then you don't want that.
Okay, so but intermittent fasting is and so to have a whole period of time where you don't eat, say 12 hours to even 16 or 18 hours, you have nothing against that?
No, not at all.
As long as you make good choices during the window where you're eating.
Yes, Katie, that's a big thing, right? So most people, it's more important when people say to me, do I do 12 hours, 16 hours, 14 hours? I say, look, whatever you do, the most important thing is how you break your fast. So if you fasted for 16 hours and you've reaped all this benefit, and then you go, put away a Haagen-Dazs or, a big smoothie, which is full of, high sugar stuff, that's not great. You want to break the fast gently. And then you want to make sure whatever calories you need for the day, you get it in that window.
Someone keeps asking, about protein shakes.
Yeah.
I guess it really depends on what you're using for protein, right?
Correct, yes. And protein, again, like, in my talk, I mentioned it. Protein is very useful to boost the immune system. You know, for athletes, typically we say 1 gram per kilogram of body weight. So
Yeah, what is that? Can you translate that to me? Because I'm not very good at math.
No. So for instance, you know, a typical portion is the size of your fist. You know, that size of protein. So if you're eating a chicken breast, like something like that is 1 serving. And that would typically be between 20 to 30 grams of protein, right? In a day, if you weigh, say, 70 kilograms, then you want to consume about 70 grams of protein. Okay, protein has been shown to actually help the immune cells become more active and more mobile and move around better.
Can you tell me again about I'm sorry to be so dumb.
Okay.
Kilograms, Dr. Ara. What about, you translate that into pounds?
So like 1 kilogram is 2.2 pounds. Sorry, 1 pound is, sorry, 1 kilogram is 2.2 pounds. Yes.
Oh, okay.
So 70 kilograms is roughly about 150 pounds.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, all right, let me just, we took some notes. Emily Pinto, my producer, took some notes on I watched it this morning as well, and I found it super interesting. Okay, let's talk about supplements, because a lot of people have been writing to me about this. And by the way, honestly, any questions, you guys, Dr. Ara is here for you all.
Yeah.
You know, and I want him to be responsive to anything you need to know, or if you have questions. As I said, the doctor is in. Okay, so just going backwards, I thought it was really interesting. A lot of people have asked about elderberry syrup when I've done these Instagram live interviews. And you say it's actually a good thing. So what form do you take it in? I guess it's a liquid, but how you say you take 1,000 milligrams a day, is that right?
Correct. So what's interesting about the COVID-19 virus, right, particularly, it's how it attacks your cell. It doesn't attack the cell directly. It attaches itself to a molecule called ACE2, and then it kind of gets into the cell. It almost hijacks the cell that way, right? So elderberry syrup, when they studied it, and only for periods of 12 weeks, so I can only say, studies have shown for 12 weeks, 1,000 milligrams or 12 weeks, it shows that it prevents the attachment of the virus to the ACE molecule. So that's why there is a role. I personally believe there's a role of taking elderberry syrup during this time. Like me personally, when I go to the ER to work, I take a dose of that before I go to work.
Some people are saying that it's not effective. Some of the people writing in say it's not very effective, and that functional medicine specialists have said don't use it. I mean, it's sort of hard to know when people say different things.
Correct. And here's what I'll tell you. There will always be two sides to the arguments, right? What I will tell you is what's the downside right now.
So
this is a new virus. We don't know much about it. If theoretically this can help you, then why not?
And elderberry syrup can't hurt you, am I right?
No, not really, no.
Okay, people are asking about zinc. And I used to use Zicam when I had my first sign of a cold. Anyway, people are saying don't use elderberry specifically for COVID-19. I think we should say talk to your doctor, do more research, because I don't want to give anybody bad advice here, and I know you don't either. But vitamin C, Mark Hyman told me they're starting to give IV vitamin C to some COVID patients, and it's it's shown to be fairly efficacious. What about just taking vitamin C as a supplement?
I think now is a great idea. Well, when they've looked at, when you look at vitamin C.
I'm sorry, I was on zinc. Can we go back to vitamin C?
Yeah, we can go back to zinc,
I apologize.
That's okay.
Zinc, I was talking about Zicam and zinc. Tell us about that. Sorry.
So zinc, like Zicam is great, right? So there are many forms of zinc, and zinc glycinate and zinc acetate are the ones that you really want. And Zicam has both of them, okay? And again, it's a lozenge, so you want to let it melt in your mouth. You don't want to chew it. And like you did, the first sign of a cold, you want to start taking it, and you want to take one every 4 to 6 hours. That's really, really important. What it does is it reduces the viral replication and its effect on the cells in the mouth. and your mouth is a first line of defense. So that's very, very important.
But what about taking zinc lozenges, for example, prophylactically? Should we all be sucking on zinc lozenges right now?
No, there's not been any data to suggest taking it prophylactically is any better. What we do know is if you do get a sign of cold, taking it then it helps prevent worsening of symptoms.
Okay, let's go back to vitamin C. Sorry about that. And that
Okay.
1,000 milligrams a day, is that what you should be taking?
Yes, on like right now for supporting the immune system, you want to take about 1,000 milligrams a day. A lot of the work when it comes to athletes and vitamin C was done on athletes that did, like military personnel, downhill skiers, marathon runners, so long distance, right? We don't really know the effect of, short terms in, it's like sprint athletes, for instance, or power athletes. But what we know is it's harmless. It's actually a very, very, very safe product. It's been around for a long time. So 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C right now would be very good for you.
Okay, so everybody, 1,000 milligrams. And if you can't find it in the drugstore, I'm imagining you can get it on Amazon and places like that. I need to get some. I've been trying to eat oranges and drink a little orange juice, but I don't think I'm probably getting enough vitamin C. People are asking about vitamin D, which is really important. My latest physical, I got tested for vitamin D. My levels were low. I think they were like 26, and you're supposed to be 34.
Yeah, 30 and above. Yeah, at least.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, so my doctor gave me a monthly vitamin D pill.
Yeah.
Which unfortunately I left it in New York City, so I don't have it here. But what about just regular vitamin D for the average person and for everybody watching this? If obviously you get it from the sun, but is it important to take vitamin D right now?
Really, really important. And so here's what I'll tell you, right? When it comes to vitamin D, it's a bit like, the Goldilocks theory. If you are low, like your level was low, you should supplement, okay? And then if you're working out, like I always say this, try to get 20 minutes outdoors in the sun. Get sun exposure, really, really important, right? But then if you know your levels and your levels are therapeutic, meaning you're in the right range, taking extra and pushing yourself to the other end is actually harmful. So you can actually get very high vitamin levels that have been shown to dampen the immune system. So you don't want to overdo it. If you're not sure and if you're in the therapeutic window, then 1,000 IUs or between 1,000 to 5,000 IUs a day at most. But really, you want to be guided by your blood test. Taking it blindly is not a great idea.
Yeah, but people can't get blood tests right now. So is 1,000 milligrams probably going to be okay?
Katie, like I don't want people, if you are normal and you take 5,000 units and go the other way and
but what about 1,000?
1,000 should be okay. Yes.
So would you recommend people who are just worried and want to be smart that they take vitamin D?
Yes, I think for now, if you're not sure, take 1,000 IUs. That would be a good time, because also listen, we are going to go through this for another 2-3 months. And then we should come out of it. And by that time, so if you look at taking 1,000 units a day for 2 to 3 months, I think you'll be fairly safe.
Someone just said, Dusty Leanne, or hi, Dusty Leanne. Functional folks also say no extra vitamin D for COVID. It increases receptors that COVID attaches to. So, that's something actually to keep in mind too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I said, like, you want to be careful. You don't want to overdo this. So if you're really, really, if you want to take it, you don't know your level, don't go more than 1,000 units.
Someone's asking about vitamin D3. And so what's the difference between D and D3?
Vitamin D3 is the biologically active form that you really want to take.
Vitamin D3, and
yes.
When you buy vitamin D as supplement,
most of them come at vitamin D3. Yes.
Okay. So we did vitamin D, vitamin C, zinc, elderberry.
Yeah.
What about? Oh, by the way, before we go into probiotics, what food sources are high in vitamin D? Because I always feel like if you can, it's great to get vitamins from food.
Two things: egg yolks and mushrooms. And believe it or not, if you leave mushrooms out in the sun, they concentrate the amount of vitamin D they actually have in them. So I asked a friend of mine who's a formulator. he leaves his mushrooms out in the sun for about 30 minutes before cooking them. And that's been very, very, it's very interesting to me.
Is any kind of mushrooms or
Yes,
shiitake or?
most mushrooms. If you can get hold of any mushrooms, they're generally rich in vitamin D.
That's so interesting. I had no idea. Probiotics.
Yeah.
Now, I've always been confused about probiotics. They reduce inflammation. Natural probiotics are in things like yogurt, right? This is like getting a consultation. Do you guys know how lucky we are to have Dr. Ara here answering all our questions? It's like a free consultation with a expert. What about probiotics?
Okay, so that topic that we looked at probiotics is Professor Gleason did a lot of work looking at probiotics and how it affected the number of athletes who got colds and influenza during the winter training months, right? And what he showed was if you took probiotics, you reduce the number of colds you had. So it has a benefit in supporting the immune system. But here's what I'll say. The probiotics that you want to take, if you buy over the counter, the liquid ones, Danatol, Actimel, those things are really well tolerated by the digestive tract, so you get the benefits. The pills aren't as great.
Oh, so tell me the kind that I should be buying. Wait, hey Adriana, why is all the sorry, Ara, the comments are all over Ara's face. Can I fix that?
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Sorry. Hold on. I've got all these comments on your face and I'm trying to fix it. Hi,
okay.
There we go. What kind of probiotics?
So, the ones that you buy over the counter, so, like Actimel, that's a brand. Those things, they come the little packages, those are pretty good actually for now.
And what about prebiotics? Somebody was asking me about prebiotics.
So ideally you want to take both. So that's where you talked about fiber earlier on, about eating the vegetables as whole. Those will give you a ton of prebiotics. So try to get that from your food. Even the probiotics, things like kimchi, sauerkraut, even ginger beer, those are all they have, kombucha, those are all natural probiotics anyway.
Are these things okay for kids to take? Somebody wanted to know.
Probiotics, be careful with kids.
I think like all of them. I think people are asking about all of them.
Oh, for all of those? Yeah, no, like be careful with kids with vitamin D. You don't want to just do it blindly. Vitamin C, you're okay. Zinc, again, you're okay. Elderberry, be careful because it's not really been studied in kids as far as we know. When it comes to probiotics with kids, really try to give it to them in natural form if you can. If you're going to give them a supplement, then make sure the doses are correct. So the over the counter, the yogurt drinks, those are okay.
Okay. Hey, by the way, someone wants to just say a quick hi to you before we ask some more questions.
Oh, hello.
Dr. Ara, how are you?
I'm good, buddy. How are you doing?
Good.
Adam says hi.
Awesome.
We're getting all sorts of
I know.
information
I was listening to you guys downstairs.
Meanwhile, John just asked me if I wanted a hamburger. I'm like, no, I don't want
The hamburger's good.
Feed her. Hamburger's fine. Just give us something.
Did you ask Dr. Ara if it's okay to play golf? Socially distant golf? My course is open.
Your course is open. Listen, if you can keep it socially distanced, then fine. But just be very, very, because I see that and I live on a golf course. And yesterday I saw people going in their own cars, but then when they got to on the greens, they were really close. So just
now the Northeast is a lot cooler. I think Florida has a big issue because everyone wants to go out and play here. It's been 50
good.
degrees.
I love you.
He's feeling your thunder, Katie.
Dr. Ara, someone asked about again. By the way, everyone watching, we save these and we put them on my Instagram page. So if you want to share this, and we also put it in Wake Up Call, my morning newsletter. Please subscribe if you haven't. We give you all the news you need to know, plus great original content. You don't have to watch the news and get stressed out all day. Yes. Tell me again, you just go to katiecouric.com if you guys don't get it already in your inbox every morning. So a couple of people are asking, I think they're joining late a little bit. So tell us again your recommended liquid probiotic.
So the one that I would say that's very popular over the counter is Actimel.
Actimel?
Actimel. I think here they also have like things like Donatel, I think is another one.
Can you spell Actimel? Sorry.
Actimel.
Actimel.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what I'll do? I'll actually post some of those ones on my post as well.
Yeah, and I recommend that people go to your YouTube webinar because I think it's super interesting. And I kept thinking, you know, a lot of the things about athletes you could apply to people like
100%.
that, you know, like me, who are not exactly elite athletes, to
You know,
say the
I'll
least.
tell you, listen, Nike have a saying, right? If you have a body, you are an athlete.
I like that, Ara.
See?
I'll take
So,
it. Okay, let me, you know, everyone's been asking this, and I'm going to ask it again. I feel
okay.
like every time I do an Instagram Live, I get this question about ibuprofen.
Yes.
I'm not sure if you've studied it that much. There's a lot of controversy. The
Yeah.
British Minister of Health said, don't take it.
Yeah.
Someone else sent me a thing from Vienna saying people who succumb to COVID have a lot of ibuprofen in their body. Do you care to weigh in on this?
Well, you know, I'll tell you what I know, and then I'll tell you what I'm doing. Okay. What I know is when it first broke, it came from certainly the ones I read were coming from France, and they said, hey, we noticed a relationship between deaths with COVID and people using non-steroidal anti-inflammatory, ibuprofen being one of them, right? And then that broke in news and became a big thing. And then what they noticed was when they looked at it more carefully, those people also tend to have a lot of heart disease. Okay, so then we kind of took the emphasis off. What I do personally is, like, if I hear anything like this and we don't know what's going on with the virus right now, if you can avoid it, avoid it. You know, because you don't want to find out later, oh gosh, yeah, we should have avoided it, right? If there's any hint, then be cautious right now. Now is not a time to take a risk. So use Tylenol first for fever, body aches. If you are really healthy and you have, you know, you can't break the fever. Now, here's what I also take, especially with kids. It's more important to break the fever than to avoid ibuprofen completely. You know, like if you came to the hospital and you had a very high fever, we'll give you Tylenol and we'll give you anti-inflammatories if you're a suitable candidate, because that's, you know, the temperature is much more harmful to the body.
Okay, that's good to know. And by the way, people just joining, this is Dr. Aris, who's a sports medicine expert and ER doctor. He is a doctor for the PGA and LPGA, and he works primarily with elite or athletes. I mean, are golfers elite athletes?
Yes. Don't get me in trouble. Don't get me in trouble.
Okay, sorry. Okay, I don't know. I guess they are, but
they are.
Some of them don't exactly look like elite athletes, if you know what I'm saying, Dr. Ara.
Oh,
okay,
God.
let's talk. Okay. If you, how do people follow you? Someone's asking for the link to your YouTube.
All my social handles. My YouTube is going to be Dr. Ara on Call. My website is www.draraoncall.
Dr. Ara on Call. ARRA, everybody.
Yeah, DRARA on Call.
Oh, just one R. Sorry.
Yeah.
DRARA on Call.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I have to ask you a little bit about sleep. Okay. Everybody pay attention because this is interesting and I learned a lot again on that. So sleep, that is when, I guess I knew this, but it was a good reminder. Your sleep, chronic sleep disturbances cause inflammation. You know, I've heard about inflammation for so long. And can you just explain very simply? There's Julia with her little sleep emojis. Can you explain just very quickly, Ara, what inflammation is?
Okay. So inflammation, imagine a fireplace, okay? And you have a thermostat there. You can control the fire, right? Okay. If you have a cut and it becomes red and painful and, you know, a little bit swollen, that is acute inflammation. Inflammation keeps us alive. It is our body's natural recovery, healing device that's meant to repair the body. Okay.
So is inflammation basically when your immune system is on overdrive?
No, that's chronic inflammation. So that's
okay. So some inflammation's good.
Correct. That's why you can't just, you know, throw everything. I don't want any inflammation. No, if you don't have any, if you cannot mount any inflammation, you will not live. Okay. You need inflammation to get over all the small cuts and colds. Even with every day right now, I'm being exposed to regular viruses, but our body is able to fight it off, right? So acute inflammation is good. Like when you get sick and for a few days, but then you recover, okay? And the acute inflammation goes off. Sometimes the acute inflammation becomes chronic, meaning persistent. So imagine the fireplace, like you turn it on a little bit, and now, you turn it on high, that's acute inflammation, right? The fire comes on and then you turn it back off completely, it should go away. But when you turn it off, if it doesn't, and there's a little bit of smoldering fire going on, that is chronic inflammation. Now that is a problem, and it's been linked to everything from aging prematurely, to obesity, to heart disease, to diabetes, to dementia, Alzheimer's, to cancer. Okay, if you look at all those underlying things, one concept that strings it all together is persistent chronic inflammation. So like my work with athletes really is to put down as much of the inflammation as possible, because sleep deprivation and jet lag will increase the amount of chronic inflammation that you build up in the body. So that's why sleep deprivation, in 2012 actually, World Health Organization linked sleep deprivation and cigarette smoking. They put sleep deprivation and shift work in the same category as cigarette smoking as something that as causing cancer.
And someone just asked, how can you reduce chronic inflammation? It's all the things we've been talking about, right?
Yeah.
I look better from this angle, so I'm going to do this because, you guys know what I mean. Anyway, so sleeping, eating right, exercising, all the things that we've been talking about are ways to reduce chronic inflammation, right, Ara?
Yeah, so like I talk about medicine.
Maybe I have to do this. Sorry, go ahead.
It's okay. I talk about something called free medicine. Like if you make sure you get good quality sleep, if you make sure you're hydrating and nourishing the body with good quality food, if you move, forget about exercising, but think about moving. If you get enough sunlight and you make really healthy connections with people, those are 5 things that are free medicine that will add so many good quality years to your life.
A lot of people, someone just said, I've been having nightmares. A lot of people are very anxious, very worried, wake up in the middle of the night, have trouble going to sleep because their anxiety levels are so high. I know you say that deep sleep between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. Usually that's when your cells are kind of strengthened and rejuvenated. And even if you get a little more sleep, it's better. But I've been sleeping okay. My daughter hasn't been sleeping well. My friend Adriana, say hi, Adriana.
Hi,
she hasn't been sleeping really well. This is the room she's staying in.
Okay.
So how can you deal with that? Because you're saying isn't good, but so many people are having trouble sleeping.
Yeah. So I totally understand it. Like anxiety right now is, and that's one of the reasons, like you said, don't watch the news. It changes. It's always, it's shifting from one side to the other because this is a novel virus. So things that you can do to reduce the amount of stress, a few things I will tell you, right? Make sure you get exercise, and make sure if you can do it in the morning, even if you live somewhere that is not super bright, but the daylight in your eyes will set your circadian rhythm and will help you sleep later at night, right?
Right.
And so if you go out in the morning, 20 minutes, take your shades off. Make sure you get the light in your eye, okay? Number 1. Number 2, there's things called mindfulness practice. This is things like yoga, meditation, and
I
stuff
have
like
a friend who does that named Donna. I'm going to see if she'll do that with us and invite everybody in to
that'd be great.
Even if people don't want to do 20 minutes of meditating in the morning and at night, which like TM suggests, there are certain breathing techniques that even if you take 5 minutes, Ara, that can really be helpful in calming you down. Also, when you get up in the middle of the night, you guys, do not look at your phone, because the light from your phone kind of gets you all, it's kind of hard to resist at times if you're just staring into space, but really try to resist going on your phones because it's going to really mess you up. Someone's asking about magnesium, Ara. Is that good?
I think magnesium is great. Magnesium as a sleep aid has been shown to be very beneficial. I use it personally, especially if I have long shifts. Like I work in the ER sometimes and I see things that will keep me awake. Taking a magnesium, it's actually a something that calms the brain down. So taking magnesium before going to bed is really good. But I want to come back to something you mentioned, right? there is a technique called box breathing. So if you imagine a box, okay, you take, for a count of 5, you take a breath in, then you hold it for 5, okay, then you breathe out for 5, and then you hold it for 5. Okay, that box breathing, that sounds so simple. Okay, breathe in for 5, hold for 5, breathe out for 5, and then hold for 5 again. Okay, if you do 5 cycles of that before your bedtime, try that tonight. You will absolutely calm down your nervous system, your anxiety levels, and it's a really good way to help shut the body down and go back into sleep.
So it's breathe in.
Yeah, hold for 5. So breathe in for 5, hold for 5, breathe out for 5, hold for 5. And then you do 5 cycles of that.
Okay, everybody's asking about turmeric. You guys are you turmeric people are driving me crazy. I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Everybody, that's not a triangle. It's a square. I mean, come on.
Yeah, it's a
My
square. It's a
followers
box.
are smarter than that. It's a box. Hello.
It's a box. Yeah.
Anyway, people are asking me about, do you breathe out of your nose or out of your mouth when you do the box breathing?
Ideally, you want to breathe out of your nose, like through your nose.
Okay, out of your nose. Okay,
Yeah.
I know. Okay, so, wait, sorry. Oh, turmeric. It's turmeric.
Yeah.
There are a lot of turmeric lovers out there.
Yeah.
Adrian and Carrie, actually Carrie more than Adrian, I made this Allison Roman turmeric lemon cake. I don't think probably the cake was that good, but I mean, that healthy, but it was delicious.
Yeah.
What about turmeric?
So
Sorry,
turmeric,
I just burped everyone.
Turmeric as a... That's why this is real. That's why this is real. I love it.
People are seeing me in all my glory here, you know.
Listen, that's what makes
look
you...
at me. My
Katie...
husband looked at me the other morning. He's like, I really think maybe you need to clean up a little.
Oh my God. John said that to you?
Well, he was justified. Seriously. I was looking pretty disgusting, Adriana said. My hair is always like this. I mean, I'm trying to avoid the shower when possible. I'm just a hot mess. All right.
Listen, don't beat yourself up.
It's okay. I'm not. I mean, okay. It's sort of like, you know, anyway.
Yeah.
Turmeric. Sorry, getting back to turmeric, everybody.
Yeah, turmeric is a really good anti-inflammatory. Like it's been shown, like it's really well-studied spice. You know, certainly there's a role to play as an antioxidant. Whether or not it helps you in this period for combating COVID or viral infections, I wouldn't recommend. That's not what it's there for. But for chronic inflammation, absolutely, I think it's a great product.
So how do you, I mean, I know there are a lot of recipes with turmeric. Can you take turmeric capsules?
You can take turmeric capsules, but I think ideally you want to get it in a powder form, and then turmeric is best absorbed with fat and pepper.
Oh, pepper.
Yes. Pepper, yeah. Pepper.
Like
when
pepper?
You buy, yeah, black pepper. Yeah, black pepper increases turmeric absorption in the gut by like 1,000 times.
Wow.
Yeah. So if you see most turmeric supplements, it'll say in there black pepper.
Someone just said, "Love you, Kathy." Since the Today Show, it's Katie. People, what the hell? What is wrong with you?
Oh my God!
I appreciate it. Well, not white pepper, black pepper, right?
Black pepper, yeah.
Okay. Is there anything that we didn't cover that you feel like would be helpful to? Oh, somebody said Costco sells turmeric with black pepper extract or something. Yeah. So that's probably why.
Quinol is, yeah, most good companies will sell you turmeric with pepper added to improve the absorption. I think what's important, you know, one of the things I want to say is I sense a sadness in the world right now. You know, we all wondering what is going on. Like none of this is present.
It's a sense of sadness and a sense of real fear.
Correct. And I think there's two, you know, I see some people saying, listen, we'll get through it, you know, in great times, you know, tough times produce great people and all this kind of stuff. But I also think, you know, being human, you know, if you just lost your job so suddenly, so unexpectedly, that's a bereavement.
Oh,
please,
I know.
Bereave. Don't just fight your emotions, you know. Bereave. It's okay to cry. It's okay to feel hopeless. It's okay. And then find someone to talk and get you through it, because we are all in the same boat.
I think that's such good advice, because I think that you're right. People are grieving a lot of things.
Yeah.
Some people are grieving, they have economic pressures on top of their concerns about the health of themselves and people they love.
Yeah.
You're right. They're worried, and that is producing a lot of stress hormones and cortisol. And there are places you can call, but reach out to friends. By the way, there were some people from New York Hospital that were on this earlier, and I don't know if they're still with me, but I do have to say, I feel so grateful to all the medical professionals who are working and on the front lines. And why did your governor, I don't need to get political here, but why did your governor wait so long to have the shelter in place? I find that so irresponsible.
I have no idea, because there's all these things that are trials, right? Trials on vaccines, trials on drugs, on medication, trials on this, trials on that. The one thing we know absolutely works is distancing.
Well,
and hand washing.
Why didn't he impose that earlier? I just don't understand. He's in Florida, everybody. I was asking about Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, which, when you're in a position of power and you have to protect people's lives, and they really, I just think that is a real
Katie,
indictment of his leadership, honestly.
Personally, I feel like it was a judgment call, and he kind of wanted to wait and see, but I think, I don't know, what we know works is distancing. Right.
And staying at home and sheltering in place, right? So you're not exposed. And
just look at the countries that have done this really well. Singapore, Germany has done a great job. They've all clamped it down so fast.
South Korea.
Yeah,
South Korea.
Taiwan,
Well, anyway, I just hope economics, someone is saying, but at what price human life? I mean, I'm going to be talking to a medical ethicist in a few minutes, and we're going to feature that conversation in Wake Up Call, because, doctors are being put in a very difficult position, oftentimes with sort of guidelines from the state about who is going to thrive with a ventilator, who isn't going to thrive with a ventilator. And some, people keep asking about this colloidal silver. Isn't that the hoax that Jim Baker was pushing on television? I think isn't that just a bunch of malarkey?
We don't, I personally haven't seen robust data to support that,
And he's made a lot, didn't he make a lot of money? And I think they shut him down from selling that.
Oh, did they? Yeah.
I think so,
I know it's been around, homeopathically, they've used it for forever. But I think you really need to know what you're doing with it. It's not one of those things that just, homeopathy, they prescribe, it's an art form that's really detailed in how they do things. And so to me, it's not something that you should just use willy-nilly. Yeah,
I think, someone said Tammy Faye, but not Tammy Faye, but her husband, Jim Baker. Okay, I think that's it. I think Adriana is telling me to wrap. I think I'm enjoying talking to you, Ara. It's fun.
Likewise. Thank you so much for having me.
I feel like this is super helpful. People are asking about olive leaf. So I just I've never heard of olive leaf, Ara. What the heck is that? And also people are asking about NyQuil.
So NyQuil, let's start with NyQuil, right? NyQuil is, over-the-counter remedy for a cold. I think if you have a cold, and if you need, it also has things to help you sleep. And if you're having difficulty really right now, it's not something I would normally say, but right now, if your mind is racing, you're not sleeping, taking something like that, or even 25 milligrams if you're an adult of Benadryl will help you sleep a little bit better.
Okay, but probably not, shouldn't do it too much, right?
No, you don't want to do this all the time, but I understand we're in an unusual time right now, and the demands are very different. I'm sorry, did you ask about olive leaf? Did you answer about olive leaf? No, so I don't know much about olive leaf. When I've looked at the data, again, I have a database of things that I look at to educate my athletes. there's not enough things there or robust studies for me to say, okay, absolutely, I would go this, or leave me and say, you know what, I don't think there's any harm in trying. I just have not made up my mind on that.
Okay. All right. That's good to know. Well, I have to go. I
Yes.
just want to mention one other thing. I even prior to this, I was developing a documentary on loneliness and social isolation,
Yes.
which, you know, doctors are now really studying loneliness and saying that this feeling of being isolated can be as detrimental to your health as 2 packs of cigarettes a day. And so I was going to say to my followers, if you're alone during this crisis and you can do a short video, no more than a minute, preferably 30 seconds, talking about the impact being alone has had on you, and then you can send it to me at Katie. What should we send it to?
Katie@katiecouric.com.
Katie@katiecouric.com. I think it would be really helpful, and we can maybe incorporate those in this documentary series that I'm developing. I'm working with Vivek Murthy, who was the Surgeon General under President Obama.
Wow.
And he's the one that said loneliness was a national epidemic. There's even a minister of loneliness in Great Britain. So if you all are feeling that way and feel that you can be honest with your feelings and send me short videos of the impact doing this alone has had on you, that would be really, really great. I think we're going to wrap it up. Ara.
Katie.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Really fun to talk to you. And again, it's Dr. Ara on call.
On call. Yeah.
On call if you guys want more information from Ara. Okay. Wait, what?
Katie,
Oh, yeah.
stay safe. Stay healthy.
Okay. Thank you. And thanks again for everything.
Absolutely.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Ara.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.